Here
Hmm.
we are. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I am Kat Kazemi, one of your guides on this cosmic journey, our happy hippie chick happy hour. And next to me
I'm
here,
I am Elle. Our hippie chick happy hour has started. All
my
right.
sister from another mister.
How you
Chin
doing,
chin.
girl? Chin
Cheers,
chin, my
cheers.
darling.
We It's been quite the week, Elle, hasn't it? I mean, how about you? I mean, we've got a full moon in Libra tomorrow.
Mm.
I'm always feeling the full moon, but lately the energy or the atmosphere has been really heavy. Like you feel the weight of the world. I mean, literally the weight of being in, I guess, the third dimension, the 3D. How about you? You've been feeling it?
Girl, let me tell you. So, those who watch our show or who know us and who will be watching our show will hear about all about my struggles with anxiety disorder, right? I actually have generalized anxiety disorder, not just anxiety. I'm not just nervous sometimes. Been medicated for years, but I've been weaning myself slowly, backing off of the medicine. I'm on about half a dosage as compared to what I was 2 years ago. But let me tell you, I have not filled my prescription in a while. And
Yeah.
I do know from having it, and the doctors will tell you that when you do back off of taking it, you may think that you're okay, which is why a lot of people do back off it because they think they're okay. But then you have to be very careful because you can have some unwanted side effects from backing off. And I get that. I get all of that. I have done this before. I get all of that. I went from, like I said, it's been a couple months since I even had the medicine. I went from being still really, really okay. Like, I didn't even bother to fill the prescription because, not even to have it on the side, because I was good. I was like, I'm really good. I went from that one day to a total wreck. Yeah, like a total wreck.
Wow. Yeah, we're picking up on the heavy energies. Everybody's got something going on with them. It's not just the macro, which is, obvious what's going on with all that, as we were witnessing on the world stage, but also the micro. Every individual person is going through something. My hypnotherapy clients this week in particular, in my office here in Virginia Beach, I have a little statue on the table between my client's lazy boy and where I sit, and it's a statue of Atlas holding up the world. And I got that when I first opened my clinic in 2009 because I'm like, that's exactly how people feel when they're coming to see me, right? And I'm kind of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our
Oh,
only hope
yeah.
or last hope. Everybody's tried everything else, and then they go try hypnotherapy, and it's like, yay! So that's why I got it, and most people don't mention it or
Hmm.
talk about it or even look at it. We're just doing our thing there in the office. This week in particular, I want to say 3 clients looked over and noticed it, and like, that's how I feel.
Wow.
Yeah, it really speaks volumes about, the transformation that we are all going through, the shift that we're going through, and how everybody individually is responding or reacting to it, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between the two. So what are some things that you're doing to help you stay grounded when I know you don't want to take the medicine because you have been doing fantastic,
Yeah.
and doing your thing and keeping yourself regulated and so forth. But now with all this heavy energy and as empathic as you are, man,
Yeah.
you're like a sponge.
Oh, yes. And it's
I mean,
funny you mentioned that because all of my life I didn't realize how empathic I was. In my
yeah,
marriage, I remember trying to help the ex with being an empath. And that was before we were really using the terms this
right.
way and they were so well
I
known.
wish we had that term.
I know, but I used to say to him, you're absorbing energy from everything you watch. So I would have to try to guide him not to watch like sad. So he would watch like sad war stories, and he was military.
Oh,
So
of
and
course.
he would just
Because that's a
absorb it.
vibration that they're used to. My ex did the same thing, loved anything that had explosions, gunfire, or people screaming in pain. Well, that's kind of a telltale sign that what was going on inside of him. It was
Exactly.
a familiar frequency. That's why they're gravitating to that kind of stuff. Well,
And
I just like
oddly,
it.
Yeah, and the energy is there. Like oddly, he didn't see combat, so you would wonder like why. But again, he's absorbing everything
Yeah.
from everyone around him. So, in order to try and ward off a lot of these feelings, what happens when you have anxiety disorder? Very often, some of the there's a lot you can control, but then there's some things you can't. And,
True.
and I say can't. I say that with a grain
Yeah,
of
maybe
salt
you
because
struggle with it a little bit. Yeah.
that's what it is. So your muscles get really tight, and I liken it to a cat. When a cat becomes terrified, and you've seen in the cartoons, all of their
Well, because
hair.
your body is responding to the thoughts going on in your head, and yeah, you're tensed up the whole time. And I'm not surprised if you get locked up like that. It's like, ugh.
Exactly. And it causes cramps, Charlie horses, causes a lot of pain. People talk about the pain that you have in anxiety and depression. So I've had some of that, and I'm telling you, I have not had that in months. So one of the things that I'm doing, of course, I'm exercising more, which could also contribute to some of the muscle pain. But this is different. I can tell the difference between the
Yeah,
workout pain and the anxiety pain.
right.
Um, but I also tried to like kind of give myself a break and lighten my workout a little bit. I still didn't stop it because honestly, that's when I was feeling my best was after I'd work out.
You felt great. All right,
Yeah.
let me throw this suggestion out to you because I know your inner dialogue is cleaner than most people.
Hmm.
Is that a fair statement?
It is a fair statement.
You're kind to yourself. You
I
know,
am.
you're
Now I
very
am. Yes.
right, right. Yeah, you learn. We have to learn to be that way. So many people are so cruel to themselves. It's not even. I don't know how they function. But since I know that that's a clean area of your life, let me throw out to you, especially since the weather's getting nicer now. Just at some point during the day, just or when you go on your walk, take your shoes off and get barefoot in the grass.
You know what? Boom.
When you go to the theater on the ocean front, walk barefoot. I'm sure you go barefoot. Do you go
I
barefoot on
do.
the sand?
I
Okay,
do.
good,
I did that last Monday right before rehearsal too. It was great.
good.
Yeah, because I got there a little early. I rode with you. I got there a little early, and I
That's
took my
right. That's
shoes
right.
off, put my feet in the sand and the water. But I hadn't thought about when I walk out here. Yeah, I need to do that.
And that just helps to keep you grounded and just getting a different frequency going through your body because we're usually cooped up. We've got rubber on our feet.
Hmm.
We're
Yeah.
disconnected, and then through every other orifice, we're picking up all this fearful energy, or people are it's the unknown. So what's
Right.
happening? What's going on? What effed up thing is going to be coming down the pike next?
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like we're definitely in a sailboat, and we're on very interesting waters. Let's just put it that way, because I don't want to blow things out of proportion, right?
Right.
Keep
Yeah.
self perception, and we are much mightier and stronger than we've been led to believe,
Yes.
right? So I'm it feels exciting to me, but I'm very cognizant of the heavy energy. I'm like very
Yeah.
aware of the heavy meat suit
Hmm.
that we're shoved into, and I guess those are. Levi has something to say. I have a dog that's down poking at my arm. What you want, boy? So yeah, so
He's
it's
feeling it too.
really is. Actually,
Yeah.
he really is. Well, God love him. Now he's been absorbing some of my heavy energies, because he's my little earth angel. But yeah, getting grounded is so important. Making sure your inner dialogue is good. That's what
Yes.
I'm so. It's inspiring around you because I've never known you not to be kind to yourself, and I'm so used because that's who comes to see me is people who aren't kind to themselves because of the traumas and dramas that they've experienced in their lives, and that's my job to be there to do that. And
Yeah.
yes, I take care of my energy before and after I leave my office, but to be around somebody who is genuinely kind to themselves, it's unusual because most people aren't.
Yes. What amazing work you're doing. I mean, I already know
Thank
you do
you.
amazing work, but just to recognize that in people who come to see you
Yeah.
and understand that there's something that has to change there so that this person is kinder to themselves. That
Yeah.
is huge.
It it really is, because that's really the crux of the biscuit. You know, people come to me, I need to stop this bad habit. Could you make me stop eating so much? Or blah, blah, blah. Well, honey, it's down to your relationship with yourself,
It is. It
right? It's
is.
not about just planting this seed in your head. I mean, that has something to do with it, but you know, you have to be willing to receive it, right?
You do.
And
Yeah.
and it's having that awareness of the fact that, you know, wow, I haven't been I'm not nice to myself. And then
Yeah.
that's a slippery slope. Once you start beating yourself up, then you start blowing the scenarios up and you get caught in what I call automatic negative default. And that's focusing on what you don't want or don't like. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like the way I am. I don't want to be this way. Focusing on what you're afraid might happen. Worst
Mm-hmm.
case scenario, worry, worry, worry. Oh, this horrible thing's going to happen. Or focusing on the lack of what you want,
Oof.
like people who try to practice law of attraction. You know, I want this, you know, all this money and my special person, and where is it? It's not here yet, right? So we're
Right.
focusing on what we don't have,
Right.
uh, and that is giving spotlight and center stage to the things, all the things you don't want. We
Yes.
are multidimensional creators,
Mm-hmm.
and we're creating our reality, but we've been led to believe some false premises, limiting beliefs, and just lies
Yeah.
about our true nature.
Yeah.
And there's those of us, you know, I'm sure all the people that watch new reality TV are waking up to that because it is a new reality,
Yeah.
and we're all creating it together. So, and it starts with us individually,
Yeah.
right? We've been taught to look outside of ourselves for
Mm.
validation.
Yes.
As an actor, yes, you do get outside validation from your
Mhm.
audience, but it starts with you first as the actor.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because, you know, being on a sketch comedy improv team, when I first got hired, I remember saying that I was had some negative self-talk. I said, I'm not funny. I'm not a comedic actress. I do
Yes, you are.
dramatic work.
You're hilarious.
I've come to embrace that. I've come to learn that. And it's just again, it's what you tell yourself. And who would have thought I'd be doing this 4 years later, and I know that I'm good at it. Like I don't think I
Yeah.
knew it at first. I was going through the motions, but I knowing that I'm good at it and being able to see that. So you're absolutely right. And you mentioned how, you know, we've been taught to believe these things. We've been taught to believe that life happens to us. Yes, some things happen, but I love the word creator. You mentioned the fact that we are creators of our reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And isn't
Like,
that the new reality, to understand that we are the creators of it?
absolutely. We're creating our new reality. And life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And that includes
Yes.
all the hard stuff. You know, it's actually in the hard stuff where you go get your biggest lessons, and that's what we come here for. It's, you know, in our natural state, you know, the energy source that's running this DNA meat suit, it's lollipops and unicorns all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, that's fabulous. But you know, we are, you know, we're ever seeking pioneers and seekers and, you know, star travelers. So you know, we want the experience, right? So I'm having
Absolutely.
an experience as Kat, and you're having an experience as Elle, and you know, it's the roller coaster, man. Put your
Yeah.
hands up, right?
Whee!
Right now, it feels like the part where we're going click, 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 click.
Oh,
It's gonna be a big drop, people. Here we go. But that's what we came here for, right?
that's right. That's right.
That's
Yep.
exactly what we came here for. You know, it's the big show, because there has been a very, very, very long time of a certain frequency, of a certain mindset that's been driving this world, and I think that's why Gaia put out the urgent call. We need help. I
Right.
need help.
Yes.
You know, these little fleas on me don't seem to be evolving here. So let's do something about it. And that's what we all came here for, to be, just to be, even if you're not actively, you know, providing content or counseling or doing whatever,
Right.
your presence is contributing,
Yes, it
right?
is. And it
Your
matters.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here to raise the frequency. So Yeah, one thing that definitely raises my frequency are my dogs, my pets.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's interesting. I knew they were coming to me. They're 8 years old. They just turned 8 in January, and I it was October of 2016, and I was out going for a walk, exercising, getting ready for my 50th birthday cruise 2 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And that year, I had to say goodbye to my beagle dog, Abigail Wagatail, and
Oh.
yeah, she's my sweetheart. So we were without dog. I see me and my husband at the time, and we were okay. We had a cat. She was my familiar. I loved her to pieces. So had no intention of getting a dog anytime too soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going for a walk, and out of nowhere, I'm telling you, out of nowhere, and I'm not even thinking about dogs. I'm just listening to music, minding my business, walking down the road in my neighborhood. Like a lightning bolt hit me,
Wow.
and I knew instantly how I don't even know how to put it into English language,
Oh,
in
okay.
any language.
Use
And,
whatever language you want.
but okay, so it went to my mind and then also to my heart, and just the images that showed up. And I heard I'm going to get two babies, and I knew it certainly didn't mean human babies at this point, even though that would have been interesting. But I mean, Janet Jackson did
I
have a
was about to
baby
say
at
that. Come
54.
on, Janet.
But she's got money for doctors, so you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So
Nannies, all that good
anywho,
stuff.
but I knew exactly what it meant, that I was going to have two dogs. They were my dogs, that kind of situation. And now I understand what it was all about. I know them. Okay, they know me. They're my friends, and they're here as dogs, not
Yes.
people, to help me through this transition that I've been going through over the last 8 years. And they needed to be dogs, because I was meant to really be more learning who I am,
Mm-hmm.
doing my work, going through my dark night of the soul kind of thing. And if I was with a person, i.e., like, a partner kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
I have the tendency to get lost in them, and I give my power away.
Oh,
And I'm not taking care of me, I'm taking care of them, which is what happened with my previous marriage. That it was toxic to me. It was
yeah.
very toxic to me, but I couldn't get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Spirit, for helping me out and getting me out of that situation and bringing me Zoe and Levi, because um, they they've been my godsend since I've made the move,
Yes.
and they've kept me grounded,
Right.
kept me sane, kept me from feeling loneliness or having a moment where I'm trying to go back to old patterns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who's done
Yes.
that, right? And so they have been a godsend, and they're not like your usual dogs, are they, Al?
No, they're not. Yeah, they're. Oh gosh.
Especially Zoe. She's a definite healer. You could tell she's a healer from way back, and Levi is as well. But there's something like a Florence Nightingale feel about Zoe.
Yeah, very much so. She senses everything. One of the first things I noticed is when my anxiety is high, it alerts her. She is
Yes,
very she comes to me. She's like, "What's going on?"
she's
You know,
vigilant about it.
she is,
She's
and it's
sensitive
like,
to it. Yeah, she'd be like a good service dog.
absolutely, yeah,
If God, if I ever, knock on wood, ever have a seizure situation, she'd be on it. But she knows,
yeah,
like when I was going through all my grieving through my dark night of the soul, there was a lot of grieving, even a lot of yelling, because I was angry, very
yeah.
angry. And she was on it. She was right on it.
And she helped me to kind of, there are times when if you're having a panic attack, you don't realize it, and most times you don't realize it. And it can happen even when you're in a good mood and you're
Yeah,
expressing something happy, and I would, I could be expressing something happy and she'd be just chilling. But then if it started to get too anxious, she would come to me, and that helped me to regulate
yeah.
myself, if you will. I was like, okay, Linda, you're becoming a little manic. So like kind of lower
She
your
leans
vibration.
in on you, like she's hugging you. She's trying to hug you and hold you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so
Yeah.
it's like
She's
that helps me. And so then when I'm not around her, I recognize those things within myself. And I really believe that's a lot of how I've been able to manage my anxiety, my feelings, up until just very recently with whatever's going on this week. I
yeah.
feel much better today than I have all week long. It was a rough week, and
Yeah.
today, like, I feel 100 times better. And I haven't picked up my medicine. I ordered it, but I haven't picked it up. So,
Good, 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 good.
that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, it's coming in waves for me, with feeling the moon energy and everything, but so far so good. And so if anybody's out there listening to us, if what do you guys do to keep yourselves grounded, to keep yourselves from all the cosmic cooties that can be infiltrating on your space? Anything in particular anybody's doing? A lot of people like just to listen to some nice music, have peaceful time.
Yes.
um Obviously, stay away from social media as much as possible, but I rather enjoy it, and I have filtered and cleaned my media to where it's pleasing to me, and to me
Yes.
that is just a perfect metaphor of creating the life as you want it. You don't have to let the other stuff in,
Nope.
do
That
you?
hide button is my friend. Let me tell you, I let Facebook know all the time. I'm not interested. Hide that. Let me see less of this. Snooze this
Especially
person.
recently, the they've been taking liberties of just pushing stuff on our face to see if we'll
Hmm.
just accept it.
Yep.
No, absolutely not.
I got that scroll down pat. I see something. I see it coming. I'm like, oh, this is some bullshit. I
Out
scroll
you,
so fast.
out you go.
I don't even
Yeah,
know if the
because they're
algorithm to know
trying
I
to
saw
rob
it.
us of that high vibration, and it's interesting because I've just been sitting here as we're chatting, cutting, my oracle deck. I figured maybe I might pull a card later on, but when I flipped over the bottom of the deck, the card there was joy.
Joy. We pulled that before, right? I can't remember.
No,
Oh,
did
well, maybe
we?
we haven't. I can't
Something like
remember.
that. I don't know,
Yeah.
but maybe we did. Maybe the first time around, maybe we did.
Maybe. Okay.
But still, that is where our frequency needs to be, and in our own sovereignty, be our own leaders, and be more community minded,
Hmm.
thinking of the collective. It's not us against them,
Right.
as much as that narrative wants to be thrown in our faces right now. um
That's how that narrative wins, is when we buy into it and really
yeah,
demonstrate that very thing.
I
Yes.
refuse
Uh,
to buy
right.
into it.
Right. Me too.
I speak love, be love, am love to everybody I encounter. If they have a hard time accepting that, that's on them. But I'm
It's
not
okay.
going to give them any shade for it, because
Exactly.
everybody's operating from their own level of awareness and understanding, right? And it takes all of us shining our light to help those who maybe haven't seen things yet
Right.
or had that change of perspective, which is happening more and more every day, isn't it?
It is. It is. Thankfully,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it needs to.
Well, it really does. It does need to. Um, okay, so I just pulled another card, and it's the serpent, and the
Oh.
serpent is talking about um, knowledge and healing, and I think
Mm.
that's what's happening right now. We're becoming more and more aware of um, the what's the word I'm looking for? The infection
Uh huh. Uh
that's
huh.
been underneath. I'm sorry, my eye itched. The infection that's been the wound looked like it was healed, but there
Hmm.
was like sepsis going
Right.
on underneath of it, right? And now all of that's coming up to the surface, which of course makes it look incredibly chaotic.
Yeah.
And people are stirring the pot and so forth, but it's forcing us out of our comfort zones,
Yeah.
and it's forcing us to determine what is truly valuable. What is valuable,
Hmm.
right? Our own sovereignty, our own peace of mind, our us as a collective, taking care of our home,
Hmm.
you
Yes,
know,
absolutely. Yes.
and not just your own dwelling, but
You're
the part
dwelling.
of Gaia it's sitting on, right?
Right, right.
And be more, yeah, community minded in that regard, and that's how we're going to survive. And
Right.
that's how I truly believe we're evolving into that. But yeah, right now it's going to look a little nutty.
And does that serpent represent any awareness of dangers to come? Not that it's identifying dangers are coming, but simply being aware in order to be able to avoid or to counter that.
Well, that's a very interesting point. You meaning that, as we're gaining more knowledge and we're healing, being aware of the serpent in the trees.
Right. You know?
We think it's all hunky dory out there, but oh shit, there.
Right, right. Yeah.
uh, uh, I think the trees are full of snakes.
Yeah.
The trees are full of snakes. We just got to shake that tree down a little bit. We
Right.
don't have to cut it down. We can shake it, shake, do a little shakedown.
Right. I've noticed too, we talk about what we do to raise our vibrations, but I can tell you that during this time, with the increased anxiety, and this could be from that as well. But as I watch different stories and such that are touching, that evoke emotion, I cry, and I don't do that. And I mean, I've been crying in front of people. Like I don't do, but it's been
Aw.
very clean. I know I don't do that. I don't do that. But I haven't shied away from. I went to watch. We went to a movie day, The Purge. Is that what it's? No, not The Purge. God dang it, The Forge. The Forge. Completely different movie. Yeah, and great movie if you can watch it. It's out there. It's on Netflix, I think. Oh my goodness. Very faith-based film. Um I'll tell you, I was bawling. Like I was somebody had to hand me tissue. That's how much
Aw.
I was like.
It
So yeah.
touched you. It touched
It
you. Well, as an actor, you really do need to dive into the deep end of the pool.
Yep.
So you're, yeah. So whatever role you're given, you're able to. Yeah, I got that. I know what that
Right.
feels like. You could get right into those shoes,
It's interesting that
right?
I said I don't do that in front of people, but I might have to do that in front of people. I hadn't even thought about that. I'm like, oh, if the time comes, I'll probably have to do it. But you can be being prepared. I really do feel like I'm being prepared in many ways, and that
Aren't
is
we
probably
all?
yeah, yeah, and perhaps that's part of my preparation. So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. You're stepping into a whole new level of your craft.
Yeah,
Because most of the productions that go on around here aren't requiring the actors to be that emotional on stage, right?
right.
I mean, they can, like, the show I saw with you the other weekend. What was that?
Ordinary days.
Thank you, Ordinary Days. It
Yeah.
was a wonderful production,
Yes.
and there was a part of the story um, that was actually very sad, and it just the way the actor sung it was a musical. So the way the actor sung it, that was what prompted people to, get a little verklempt. But it wasn't because she was crying, right?
Right.
But there
Right.
could be a moment or a production where you're going to be required to do that. That's going to be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Probably more film, you'll be required to do that.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, live
And
stage. I have yet to see a stage production where someone's like bawling their eyes out on stage.
yeah. Now the play that I was in, the play I was in last week at Fringe Festival, there was crying there, and there were
Okay.
scenes that evoked tears from me, and I was like, okay, let me get it together. You got to go on stage. You can't be crying. Um,
Oh,
I also
well,
saw a show the day after called Forgiving Grace, and a lovely young lady, my goddaughter's mom's niece was in it. I consider her my niece too. Her name is Mia.
aw.
She was the star.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
darling, we
we
got
only
one
got a
minute
minute.
left.
Whoa, we've been talking, honey. We're gonna have to extend these
So, speaking of the
lives.
star, uh, we hope you guys have a beautiful starry weekend. Keep your vibes high. Keep yourselves in a lighter state of mind, and remember to keep that joy going on, regardless of what's going on, because we are massive creators. We all come from stardust, don't we?
And be a
every
little
single one of
kinder.
us.
Be
And
a little bit kinder to each other, just a little
that's
bit.
right. Just and yeah, be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself, just like you would to the most important people in your life, because you are important. So join us again next week for Hippie Chicks Live, 4 o'clock on Fridays. We love you guys to pieces, and peace and love.
Peace and love.